The Call of Duty developers came up with a ton of fictional guns during the futuristic era of the franchise, roughly 2013 to 2018. And while a lot of them were entirely made up, a lot of them were actually meant to be futuristic variants of real-world weapons, most of which has already appeared in the series. Today's video was made possible by a longtime fan of the channel and contributor, Elias. So huge shout out to him for helping us with this list and research. In today's video, welcome to the channel everybody, Jimmy or Chaos. We're going to be looking at 10 weapons from the futuristic era of Call of Duty. They were actually based on real-world guns. So let me know which of these you actually knew about already. I'm sure some of them may take you by surprise. And let's kick things off at number 10 with the 48 Dredge in Black Ops 3. Now, it seems this LMG is getting mentioned pretty often in COD history videos recently, which is a little weird because I barely talked about it since Black Ops 3 came out. But 6-round burst LMG. Made a name for itself with its lightning fast time to kill, but extremely awkward handling and fire rate. It kind of forced you to put a lot of hours into mastering its quirks before it would let you see its true potential. But the 48 Dredge is believed to be a spiritual successor to the MK46 and the MK48 LMGs, which are both variants of the M249 light machine gun that first appeared in Call of Duty 4. The 48 Dredge has a very similar look to the MK48, which was the starting LMG in Black Ops 2, and since they both have 48 in the title, I feel like this was an intentional piece of world building by Treyarch. With how versatile and widely used the M249 platform is, it makes total sense that far into the future world of Black Ops 3, there would still be future versions of this made. So I'm totally in favor of the theory that the 48 Dredge is actually the MK48, which is actually the M249. Before we move on, guys, do me a favor. Go sub up to Chaos Let's Plays. We just finished the Warhammer Space Marine 2 Let's Play, and we are, I would say, halfway or 3/4 of the way through the GTA 5 Let's Play. The link is at the top of the description. Help me get to 1,000 subs, and make sure to comment over there just like you do over here. At number 9, the Volk in Infinite Warfare. Obvious one here. Obvious choice. I was never the biggest fan of the Volk in the game, but then again, I was never the biggest fan of the game of Infinite Warfare. I was also under the impression that the Volk was a relatively low-tier assault rifle in the game, but whenever I say anything negative about it, here comes the decent-sized fan club coming out to defend it, so maybe I was totally wrong about the gun. Looking at the Volk, it's pretty obviously meant to be a futuristic AK-47, and according to the game files, the Volk was actually going to be called the AKE originally, which is specifically based on the AKM variant of the real-world AK-47. So having an AK-47 based laser rifle, I guess that was cool. I'll never deny that, no matter how much my opinion on Infinite Warfare fluctuates. At number 8, let's stick with Infinite Warfare. The MV4, another obvious one that I'm sure most of you already knew. The MV4 was the starting assault rifle in the game. Also one of the most popular guns in the game because of how easy it was to use, but it was also meant to be the futuristic version of the M4 rifle, which makes total sense given how popular the M4 platform is in the real world. In fact, the MV4 is called the M4 in the Infinite Warfare game files, so there's really no way to deny that it was supposed to be a real-world firearm. My guess is that Infinity Ward eventually made the decision to change the name to something futuristic, both to avoid licensing fees and also to create some extra immersion, because even though the M4 is super popular and it's been around for a long time, would have been a little weird to play a game set 150 years in the future where everyone is still using the M4 rifle like it's 2025. But still, it's a neat little progression of the weapon, and I believe that some kind of M4 rifle will still be in use in 150 years. It just probably won't be called the M4. At number 7, the SDM in Black Ops 4, the semi-automatic rifle that was a bit underrated back in the game. I know it could take up to 3 body shots to kill somebody, but you could also get insta-kills with a single headshot, so I think it balances itself out pretty well if you were willing to put the time into it. Now granted, the iron sights, some of the worst I've ever seen, but they were pretty accurate to the real-world gun it was based on. The SDM is pretty clearly meant to be a far future version of the MK14 rifle, which is a modern update to the classic M14 rifle that was U.S. military standard issue rifle between the M1 Garand and the M16. I mean, when you compare the SDM to the MK14 from Modern Warfare 3, it's pretty clear what it was supposed to be, especially if you take the sniper scope off the top and compare the two weapons with their iron sights. I do think that it was a little weird to move it into the sniper category instead of being an assault rifle or a tactical rifle, but obviously it's a little too late to be complaining about, so we're not going to. At number 6, the SG-12 in Black Ops 4. One of the most toxic guns in COD history because of the strobe light operator mod. The gun itself was okay, but if you threw that one little attachment on it, the flashlight, you could be one of the most annoying players in the game. But when you look at the SD12, it was pretty clearly meant to be the futuristic update of the AA12. Now, it wasn't fully automatic like the classic Modern Warfare 2 version, but that was probably a good thing since the Modern Warfare 2 version was completely broken. I'm sure this gun won't be missed by later COD players because it wasn't exactly a standout for good reasons, a strobe light. So, it's cool. It was a neat update. Now we arrive at the top 5. The ASM1 in Advanced Warfare, one of my favorite examples of a futuristic gun update. Now, the ASM1 was annoying. We know that. Kind of ruined the SMG meta in Advanced Warfare. Had a bunch of annoying overpowered variants, but I still think the concept was cool. The ASM1 was intended to be a futuristic version of the classic M1921 Thompson submachine gun that had a pretty long history in the Call of Duty franchise. The Speakeasy variant even had a reference to the Pack-a-Punch version of that gun from Black Ops 2 in case you doubted the similarities were intentional. The Tommy gun was an awesome firearm, and I love that Sledgehammer brought it back with a futuristic twist, even if it was a bit overpowered in gameplay, but it does raise the question. If Sledgehammer is making COD 2025, and that game is going to be set in the near future, should they bring the ASM1 back? They probably will. At number 4. The Widowmaker in Infinite Warfare. I remember when this gun was shown off, everybody got hyped because of how similar it looks to the all-time fan favorite Call of Duty rifle. The function of the Widowmaker ended up being completely different, and sniping really never had much of a following in the game, but it looks cool. I'll give it that, and it had a sweet name. The Widowmaker is a 2-round burst bolt-action sniper rifle. It was pretty horrible at launch, and it allegedly got a buff a few months after the game came out, but I admit I never personally used it, so I don't know. But the Widowmaker's appearance is strikingly similar to the Intervention from classic Modern Warfare 2, which I'm certain was intentional on Infinity Ward's part. It's also totally possible the Widowmaker name was meant to be a reference to Overwatch, where the main sniper's name was Widowmaker, and that game had launched a few months prior. At number 3, the Vapr-XKG in Black Ops 4. Now, this assault rifle was relatively popular because of the low recoil and moderate damage, made it feel kind of like the M27 from Black Ops 2, or maybe even the ICR-1 from Black Ops 3. The Vapr was also completely outclassed by the ICR-7, which was also an extremely accurate rifle with moderate damage, but the Vapr had this interesting real-world influence. If you look at the weapon model, it seemed like the Vapr was meant to be a futuristic variant of the M4 rifle, or perhaps the Commando from Black Ops 1, which technically isn't the same as the M4, even though we call it the M4. There's even some attachment combinations you can use on the Vapr that make it look even more similar to the M4 family of rifles, and with how many throwback weapons were in BO4, I really wouldn't be shocked at all if this was 100% intentional. It's always possible that we're just looking too far into this one and that the Vapr wasn't meant to be an M4, but I like the conspiracy theories. At number 2, the Vapr in Infinite Warfare. Now, this SMG is known for being the first dual magazine weapon in COD history. It's also got one of the coolest reload animations ever. Double barrel bullet hose, pretty clearly meant to be an update to the fan favorite MP5K, which first appeared in the original Modern Warfare 2, was made even better in the original Black Ops. Now, the MP5 is often used in new Call of Duty games with very small changes from game to game, but I kind of miss the days when sometimes it would be the standard MP5 in the new Call of Duty game, but other times it would be the MP5K variant. There's even a couple variants of the Vapr in Infinite Warfare that make it look even closer to the real-world MP5K. And even though the Vapr has 2 barrels and 2 magazines, you can see where it started. And at number 1 today, the ICR-1 in Black Ops 3, one of the most memorable weapons from the futuristic era of Call of Duty, thanks to the name it made for itself in 3 and 4. Both games, the ICR was a moderate damage assault rifle with an average fire rate and pinpoint accuracy. Had to be one of the most accurate ARs in COD history, and the original version that appeared in Black Ops 3 has an interesting connection to the previous Black Ops weapons. When comparing behaviors and gun models, it's believed that the ICR-1 is meant to be a futuristic update of the M27 from Black Ops 2, which itself was Treyarch's take on the real-world HK416 rifle. Now, the Black Ops 4 version was a little closer to the HK, but that gun was also used as the inspiration for the Kilo 141 in Modern Warfare 2019, so this gun actually has a lot of connections to other Call of Duty weapons. So you let me know, what is your favorite version of the ICR in the comments, and do you prefer the ICR, the M27, or the Kilo 141? Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon.